Today, we're going to talk about luxury bags and vintage, and in particular, discontinuation of pieces and bags we thought were iconic. And then all of a sudden, a brand discontinues them. I'm looking at you, Loewe, with a puzzle bag. Yes, we've heard the news. Actually, shout out to Jessie Style. Hello to my dear friend from Down Under, who spread the news like wildfire. So go subscribe to her channel. Love you, Jessie. Link down below. So Jessie made a video saying, hey, Loewe is going to discontinue their puzzle bag. Now, granted, there's been like kind of speculation. Which one of the puzzle bags? Is it the OG puzzle bag with the separate panels attached together? Or is it the newer puzzle bag that has one piece of leather but is then kind of stitched in a way to fold together? No, apparently it's going to be the OG version, the one that's harder to make, I presume, for them. So maybe the profits weren't the best there. Who knows? But that brought me to think, because then I started reading on social media that people are saying, oh, well, now that the puzzle bag is discontinued, and I have the puzzle bag, not me, but people are saying, and I have the puzzle bag, well, now the price is going to skyrocket, right? If the news spreads like wildfire that the puzzle bag is being discontinued, and I have the puzzle bag, it's going to become rarer, hence the price is going to go up on the market. Yippee-yay, yippee-yay. Is that the case though? Let's analyze that together in this video. First, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today and gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together there as well for extra perks. This video has been filmed live in front of a live virtual audience, darling. I have my co-chatters here. Listen, guys, in the chats, this is where it's at. I've been thinking about this. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think that when a brand, and Loewe has been around for a long time, you guys. Loewe is a very, very, very old brand with a big heritage, believe it or not. When they bring out a bag, like the puzzle bag, and they keep it going for several years, and it kind of, the puzzle bag, I want to say now it's at the point where it is an iconic Loewe bag. I personally, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would consider it a heritage Loewe bag. For them to then come and say, oh, we're going to discontinue the OG version of it with the panels all sewn separately together. I'm like, why would you do that? Okay, so you might not be selling it as much as you used to 2-3 years ago, but this is your claim to fame. Like literally, you guys, Loewe bags are the puzzle bags. Like I wish them all the success in this world, and I wish them to have other iconic bags, but like, you think about Loewe, you think about the puzzle bag. Like that's the first bag that comes in mind when you tell me Loewe. I'm like, puzzle bag. Discontinuing that, I don't think is such a good idea in the OG form. Now, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's just my opinion. Everything's alleged. Thumb up the video and subscribe if you haven't already and you're enjoying the content. I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to show an example of how brands deal with what could become a heritage piece, but then they discontinue it. For example, because I've been commenting on several social media accounts to people saying, oh, you know, the Loewe puzzle bag, I have it, and now that it's being discontinued, it's going to be worth a lot more. I think it's going to dumpster dive in price, you see, because we've seen this happen before in the past. When a bag does not reach iconic status to the point where the brand says, we're going to keep producing it even though it might not be selling as much anymore, you could pull that old shtick that Chanel pulls and just keep upping the price and sell your seasonal bags, but keep that iconic one bag, produce less of it, but keep it still in rotation just so that it's always there and present in the boutiques, and make your money off of something else out of prestige purposes, I would say. But we've seen this happen before, you guys, where a brand makes a bag, the bag is a huge success, it becomes in the beginning a huge it bag, trend bag, and then that kind of moves on to other shores and it becomes like, okay, well now it's mellowing down. And then the trend subsides and then the brand decides to discontinue the bag instead of just I think the brand should stick with it another 4 or 5 years, keep producing it, and then the bag is going to transcend and become like a holy grail of the brand. That's my personal opinion, but you got to stick with it. It's all about persistency. Exhibit A. Y'all, I have here the original first edition of the John Galliano for Dior saddlebag. The infamous saddlebag. This is the original, by the way. Maria Grazia Chiuri, step aside, girl. Kim Jones, Mr. Peanut, step aside, Mr. Peanut. This is the OG, okay? And I still haven't forgiven Dior for just, you know, firing Galliano and then like snatching his ideas and kind of repurposing them later on. But we digress. This is the OG saddlebag from John Galliano. This particular specimen was made in 2002, purchased in 2003. So it is a vintage bag. It's over 20 years old. It's 21 years old. And it has its authenticity card inside and everything. It's like so cute. The whole thing is in pristine condition. I purchased this pre-loved. When did I purchase this pre-loved? Check out my channel. Go back in time. Back in 2017, I believe. Early 2017 is when I got this bag. Or late 2016. And I told you guys in that video, this was way before Maria Grazia Chiuri announced the relaunch of the saddlebag. Now, back in 2003, 2002, when this bag was like new, it was super expensive, very covetable. Dior sold a ton of these. They were made in a plethora of materials, from leather to fabric to tweeds to jacquards, all sorts of denim. Oh my gosh, to die for. Then, out of the blue, not selling very well. Well, then Galliano had to leave. The bag was just buried and forgotten. You know, just like the ring in The Lord of the Rings. It was forgotten for many, many eons. And in the fashion world, 1 year is already an eon. Now imagine this bag being forgotten for almost a decade. We'll go. So imagine that. And then imagine the prices on the secondhand market. When this bag was considered the Y2K period, like in the, you know, in the 2010s, 2015 period, nobody was into Y2K. The early 2000s were just not in. Everybody just was happy to forget it because it was such an ugly period in fashion. Back then, it was considered an ugly period in fashion. And this is one of the exponents of the Y2K era, the Dior saddlebag. So what happened was, upon its discontinuation, the prices just plummeted on the secondhand market. Plummeted to the point where in 2015, 26, I don't know when I got this, 2016 or 17, I got this bag for, I can't remember, $200, maybe less than $200, something like that. And I made a video. I revealed it on my video. I spoke about it to you guys, and I said, buy it now. The prices have never been better. Because I have a sneaky suspicion this thing is going to come back. I warned everybody. Did you listen to me? Some did, some didn't. Doesn't matter. Either way, the next year or the year after that, this bag was taken out of the catacombs of Dior archives, re-released, and the prices skyrocketed. And now the saddlebag, again, is kind of mellowing down. It's not anymore that, you know, requested. They might discontinue it yet again. But the revival of the saddlebag was huge. You can forget about finding an OG John Galliano era in leather, for that matter, with the sellier stitch. It's a saddlebag after all. That's why the sellier stitch makes sense in contrast. To find that today for $200 vintage, forget about it. Forget about it. But wait another 5 to 6 years and that might be the case again. However, I do think that once a bag gets reissued, it maintains that level of icon. So that means that even 10 years from now, I do believe that the Galliano version of the saddlebag is still going to be super expensive if you try to find it secondhand. But there was a time when this was forgotten, just like the ring. Now, I believe that a similar fate is going to happen to the puzzle bag. We're going to pass through a phase that Now that it's being discontinued, a lot of people are going to think, oh, now the prices are going to skyrocket. It's like with the stock market. A ton of people are going to try to sell their puzzle bags thinking, oh, let me make a profit out of this. And the market is going to overflood with them. And the prices are just going to go down. So I believe that if Loewe discontinues the bag for about 5 years, the price is just going to keep sinking. So you will be able to get a puzzle bag for dirt cheap at a certain point. This is just my opinion and speculation. Until they maybe decide to reissue it. Reissue. Where have we heard that name before? Yes, another humongous fashion brand has done it before. That would be Chanel with their 255 reissue. In fact, the 255 is the most iconic Chanel bag, created in 1955 by Coco Chanel and released in 1955. And then iterations of it came out in many different versions, and then it kind of all stopped in the 70s, 80s. From time to time, the Mademoiselle Turnlock was done in the 80s as well, but the official big re-edition of the 255 bag with slight alterations to the design of it happened in 2005, 50 years after its original release, which was in 1955. So in 2005, the reissue comes out, and it is the most expensive Chanel bag together with a timeless classic, double flap. They both cost the same. So now we're at a point where you see when a brand then revisits something, reissues it, it becomes this huge thing that is like now super expensive. Is the reissue as desirable as the timeless classic? It's not. Only because it doesn't have a double C logo though, because it's a much better bag than the timeless classic for so many different reasons. And you can check out the plethora of videos that I've made on that bag on my channel to see why the 255 is much better than the timeless classic. I do have both, but I prefer the 255 hands down, every day, all time. But it's an example of how a bag goes forgotten and then comes back and is given a new life. It was possible back in the day, before 2005, to find vintage 255 bags for dirt cheap. Why? Because they were not the main focus of Chanel at that time, in the 90s, 2000s, and it was just an obsolete design, very 50s. Then the prices skyrocketed when it came back to life in 2005. First, it didn't cost that much. It was around about $1,300 to $1,500. Now it's $10,000. Hi, Chanel, looking at you. But it's an example. And I'm telling you, when it comes to bags and vintage bags, and so I'm also showing you from my archives this gorgeous vintage saddle bag. Don't think that just because a design style is being discontinued that the prices are going to skyrocket. I don't think they will. I think the puzzle bag is going to go through a phase where it costs very little on the secondhand pre-loved market. And then it might live a renaissance, but it also might not, because if Loewe never brings it back again, then there won't be a renaissance. Only Loewe can bring the renaissance upon that bag, just like it happened for the saddle, just like it happened for the 255. And yes, Shop Queen in the chat says, and Prada, the nylon bag, the Prada nylon bag. Now, the 90s Prada nylon bag was very successful. Also, Y2K era, early Y2K era, very successful. Then it became forgotten. You could get the nylon bag for dirt cheap. But let's be very clear about this, you guys. The Prada nylon bag was a very easy bag to copy. Nylon. So it was also really hard at a certain point on the pre-loved market to be certain. You can never be really fully certain. You can only go up to a certain percentage of certainty whether or not your pre-loved Prada nylon bag is authentic or not. So with certain styles, it becomes very dangerous and difficult. This is also a reason why certain vintage styles just don't sell for a lot of money, because it's really hard to authenticate them. It's really hard to prove their authenticity. And don't forget, the Prada nylon bag was so popular, it was overproduced. That means that it flooded the market. Everybody and their grandmothers had one. And so now it's like when you're looking at the pre-loved market, because it was so beloved back then, it was also very copied. How do you know if your nylon Prada bag is authentic or not if you're getting a vintage. This is a big issue. It's a big, big, big problem. Of course, you could just try to charge a ton of money for your pre-loved bag when you're selling it off, but chances are people might not want to buy it off of you for that money. And hence, you're going to have to lower your price. And then when the price is too low, people are going to think, this price is too low to be true, you know, for this bag to be authentic. So you always have to kind of balance out. You got to be in that price range where it's still credible that it's authentic. Granted, it is authentic, but you don't want to overcharge because then people are not going to want to buy. But if the market is oversaturated with that bag, you can't overcharge anyway. Even for normal price, you won't be able to sell it because there's too many of them. And if you undersell, it's going to look as if it's fake. So you're going to be stuck with your nylon Prada bag if you don't want it anymore. It's very, very risque. Kimberly says, I listened. I got mine for $300. This one? Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. And let me show you. It has this interior in suede. It's so delicious. And then it has the Dior logo all over on the inside. When you flip it, it has its little code on the other side right here. Come on, girl. Right there, but we're not going to show that code. And then in the zipper pull pocket, look at this little cutie. I'm not going to show you because it actually shows where it was bought and everything. I'm going to cover up the name of the boutique. But look at that. It has its date of purchase, you guys. Oh my God, it's its 20th birthday coming up in July, 12th of July, 2023. And here is the authenticity number down there. So we're going to cover that up. This is how they looked like back then. And it comes with its own booklet. Maintenance guide in several languages. General recommendations. Avoid overloading. It's a tiny bag. Protect your product from humidity, rain, and all sources of heat, sun, and heating. Avoid contact with alcohol, perfumes, solutions, and greases, for example, foundation and makeup. Store the product in its Christian Dior cover bag. Keep away from light, humidity, and heat. Do not use self-applying water repellents. Interesting. Do not use self-applying water repellents or any other product. Avoid under and any circumstances contact with rough or abrasive materials. This is general recommendations. And for leather, they say avoid prolonged contact with other leather in order to avoid potential color migration. Avoid exposing the item directly to the sun, particularly for lighter colors. To clean your bag, wipe it with a soft, non-abrasive and clean cloth or neutral color. Extra care should be taken with the white and light colored handbags. Exotic leathers, pony and furs, fragile products. In case of contact with water, dry it carefully with a soft cloth. Fabrics, light colors need careful handling. Avoid contact with chlorine. Dry cleaning not recommended. Not recommended. And additional maintenance, the jewelry accessories of your bag do not need special care. A soft cloth suffices to eliminate fingerprints. Avoid abrupt contact with other surfaces. In general, if you have questions about the care and cleaning of your bag, do not hesitate to contact a Christian Dior boutique. Why, thank you, Christian Dior, darling. Sweetie, darling. Sweetie, sweetie, darling. Ah, don't you just love it when they have these little tiny giblets that come with all of them, you know? Preloved bag that comes with all of its... So the person that sold this bag literally didn't wear it. It was spick and span brand new when I got it. Thank you so much to the person who didn't, you know, I mean, want to wear it that much. But I was pleasantly surprised that the authenticity card was still in it. Anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts about this topic in the comment section down below, because honestly, this is very interesting. You know, like, for example, I've been thinking about what's the next bag? The Chanel boy bag. It's way overdue for a discontinuation, and yet they keep that bag alive. It's hanging by a thin thread, but it's like Virginie does not want to discontinue that one. And I'm like, girl, really? Really? But she doesn't want to discontinue it. I don't know. For some reason, they think that, you know, that bag is going to save Chanel. The boy bag. Seriously. Apparently so. So anyway, that was my little vintage moment of the week connected to discontinuations. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thumb it up if you've liked it, and subscribe. Bye. Mwah.